All right, so I started a previous video and then the iPad jacked up. So I had to start over, so I'm gonna have to walk you through these guys again. But again, today we are solving radical equations. So our goal is to isolate the radical, get rid of the radical by using an exponent to cancel it out. We're gonna solve the remaining equation and possibly have to check for extraneous solutions. So if you look for the first question, my goal is to get this radical part by itself. So I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. That's going to leave me with 7. But then to get rid of a square root, which is like a 1/2 power, I'm going to square it to cancel it out. So if you square a square root, it goes away. So this just turns into x. When I square a 7, it's going to turn into 49. But remember when we did the original page, if I... Shush! So this is going to end up being plus or minus 49. So if you're solving a part with an equal sign, you're going to have a plus or minus in it. If you look at number 2, my goal is to get this part by itself. So I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides. That's going to leave you with negative 3. Then I still have this pesky negative in the front. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1, which is just going to leave me with the 4th root of m. But to get rid of 4th root, I'm just going to raise it to the 4th power. And then 3 to the 4th power is 81. All right, so if I look at number 3, now this 10 is not attached to that a plus 7. So all I'm going to have to do is subtract it off of both sides. And then again, to get rid of this, I'm going to square it. But if you square 1, you just get 1. I'm going to just get negative 6. But if I go to try to do number 4, and I subtract 10, I get a negative 7. Are you allowed to have a radical equal a square root equal to a negative? Now, no, because it's a square root or a 4th root. You can have a cube root, so don't let that trick you. So this one is going to be a no solution. Now, you can also do questions that have an exponent instead of a radical, because if you look at number 5, this 1/2 exponent is just like a square root. Now, number one thing you're not allowed to do, just like you weren't allowed to do with absolute value, you are not allowed to distribute into this, okay? So you're not allowed to do that. So in order to get rid of it, I'm going to divide it off. And then again, what is the opposite of a 1/2 power? Well, the opposite of a 1/2 power would be to square it. Okay, this would end up being 16. So it'd be c minus 12. And then you can solve this just like a regular equation. Okay, number 6 is going to be the same way. So again, this 11 is not part of this, so I'm allowed to move that. They're normally like, that's equal to a negative. That's not allowed. Remember, cubes are allowed to be negatives. So what I can do is I can cube it. And then negative 4 to the 3rd power is negative 64. So some of these do end up involving a little bit extra steps, but again, it's basically just solving an equation. Now, number one issue that people try to get. So this, well, not this one. This guy has one of the most common, well, not this one. There's one more in the back. It's going to be a common mistake. So again, treat this part just like it was an x. So if this said negative 4x plus 18 equals negative 2, you would get rid of the 18 first. So I'm going to subtract 18 on both sides. Okay, but again, not allowed to distribute into a radical, so I'm going to divide that off. Okay, then I can square it. And solve from there. And then divide that out. Okay, now one more, and then I think I've shown you enough that you can do, oh, no, I'm not done. Okay, then we come across a few on the back that are actually easier. So if you see a radical equal to a radical, we can actually just assume that those radicals are going to cancel out. So all you have to do is drop down what's on the inside and solve like normal. So I'm going to add 2u. That's a w now, but that's okay. And then divide. So if I divide that off, I think 17. Okay, so same thing would happen on number 10. Again, those guys would cancel out, drop down the insides, solve. There are some trickier ones on this paper, but we're not going to go over any of them because we're not going to do ones that are this difficult. But just one thing I do want you to look out for is if you look at the homework assignment. So this is the homework page, 6-6, front and back. The back is mostly review. The front is mostly just what we went over. If you look at number 6 is the major problem that people are going to have. They're going to look at it and say, oh, well, 17 minus 2 is 15. No, it's not. Because if you had a question that said 17 minus 2x equals 1, you couldn't do 17 minus 2 because that 2 is attached to a radical. So you need to subtract 17 first. And then divide by -2 and continue. Okay? And again, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I can set up a Zoom meeting so we can counsel one-on-one, or we can do it as a group. It's really just up to you. And remember, Ms. Pavick offered those online sessions as well. So please just email one of us, and we'd be glad to help you. Thanks. Bye.